You typed "is 5G safe" into a search bar, probably at 2 a.m., probably a little worried. Good instinct. Let's actually answer it, with physics, not vibes. Here's the respectful answer nobody gives you. That question is reasonable. New technology, invisible signal, decades of radiation panic in the culture. Of course it feels ominous. But invisible isn't unknown. Physicists have measured exactly what radio waves do to a body for over a century. Radiation splits into two categories, and the word radiation hides that. Ionizing radiation, X-rays, gamma rays, the high end of ultraviolet, carries enough energy per photon to strip electrons and snap chemical bonds. That's how it damages DNA. Non-ionizing radiation, visible light, infrared, microwaves, radio, and yes, 5G doesn't carry that much energy, period. A 5G photon carries thousands of times less energy than a single photon from the light bulb over your head. It's not about dose or exposure time. It structurally cannot break a bond it lacks the energy to break. That's not opinion, that's quantum mechanics. Now, the fact that fuels every scary headline. In 2011, the WHO's own cancer research arm, the IARC, classified radio frequency fields as possibly carcinogenic to humans. Group 2B. That sounds damning out of context. In context, Group 2B is the can't fully rule it out yet bucket. Limited evidence, not enough to draw a conclusion either way. It calls for more research, not fear. Group 2B currently also includes aloe vera, whole leaf extract, and traditional pickled vegetables. That's the company 5G's classification keeps. And here's the part panic accounts never mention. In August 2024, a WHO commissioned review published its biggest ever look at this. Researchers screened over 5,000 studies, published between 1994 and 2022, and analyzed the 63 that actually held up. Though they're finding moderate certainty evidence. Mobile phone use likely does not increase the risk of brain and head tumors in adults or in kids. A few scientists have pushed back on methodology since normal science working as intended, but no follow-up analysis has overturned it. That's not a marketing claim. That's the WHO's own cancer researchers, grading a century of radio use against the evidence. Put it next to things you already trust. Your Wi-Fi router sits inches from your head all night. Same non-ionizing physics. Your baby monitor broadcasts constantly next to a crib, and nobody loses sleep over that one. The sun blasts you with photons carrying far more energy than any of it, which is why we invented sunscreen, and never bothered inventing a 5G equivalent. You've lived inside bigger radio exposure your whole life. You just never thought to Google it. And now, the spectrum, nerd detail people miss. 5G isn't one signal, it's several bands. The lower bands behave like existing 4G. Same physics, same penetration depth. The new part is millimeter wave, up around the tens of gigahertz. And here's the twist. Higher frequency means less penetration, not more. Millimeter wave energy barely clears the outer layer of your skin, a fraction of a millimeter deep, measured and published. It can't reach your organs because it never gets past your epidermis. And like every point source, its intensity collapses with distance. Double the distance, a quarter the exposure. Basic physics, not 5G magic. Here's who actually decides what's safe. An independent scientist body called ICNIRP, recognized by the World Health Organization and unrelated to any telecom company, sets the international RF guidelines, last updated in 2020. The US FCC runs its own version, 1.6 watts per kilogram over 1 gram of tissue. ICNIRP uses 2 watts over 10 grams. Different math, same idea. Both sit far below where any harmful heating begins. Notice what they're not regulating: frequency itself. They regulate power density, how much energy actually lands on you. Frequency alone was never the danger metric. That's the mistake baked into most of the panic. So what do real towers put out? The UK's regulator, Ofcom, physically measures live 5G base stations against the ICNIRP limit and publishes the results. No telecom money involved. The highest total field ever recorded near an active 5G site, every signal combined, was about 7% of the allowed limit, and 5G's own slice of that is a tiny fraction, not close to the line. Total 5G exposure typically runs under 10% of your overall RF exposure. 4G and Wi-Fi still do most of the work. The towers aren't quietly exceeding anything. They're barely warming up the meter. And before anyone brings it up, no, Cell towers did not cause or spread COVID. A virus and a radio signal aren't even the same category of thing, and that theory got debunked years ago. Moving on, one prediction, since apparently that's my job now. By 2030, when 6G rollout marketing kicks in, this exact panic cycle repeats. New letter, same non-ionizing physics, same headlines, same 2 a.m. searches. Screenshot this and check back. Blame the cat, not the spectrum. So, is 5G dangerous? Not at any real-world exposure level anyone has ever measured. And after decades of people looking hard, no established evidence of harm. That's not spin, that's physics, the WHO's own numbers, and a regulator with a meter. If you want more of the spectrum truth, nobody explains, there's a link below, and I'll be in the CRT.